Hello and welcome to this training on what's new in ZoomText 11. My name is Derek Bovey and I'm an accessibility subject matter expert here at VFO. I'll be your guide as we walk you through some of these brand new features in ZoomText 11. There's a number of new features in the latest version of ZoomText. This includes a modern and redesigned ZoomText toolbar, a new set of command keys to make using ZoomText on a daily basis even easier, a new Zoom to 1x command, geometric smoothing, which lets your documents and applications look better than ever, especially with PDF documents, a consolidated app reader tool that makes it easy to switch between reading modes on the fly, a unified Finder, which combines both the Finder and Web Finder tools in previous versions of ZoomText into one tool, our new Smart Invert feature, which lets images retain their original colors when you're using a color filter in Internet Explorer, and lastly, we've improved the interoperability between ZoomText and JAWS. That's just a quick highlight of some of the things that we're going to go over in this session. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to launch ZoomText by double-clicking on its icon, but you can also use the hotkey to start the program, which is Control-Alt-Shift-Z.
ZoomText enabled.
Once the program starts, you're going to hear ZoomText announce that it's now currently enabled. And the first thing you're going to notice, for those of you that are veterans of ZoomText, is the new and improved toolbar. It's a much more modern looking interface, and really one of the key benefits of this new toolbar is that it's fully keyboard accessible. So now I can use my tab key or the arrow keys to walk through any of the menu items that I see on the toolbar.
Window. Open the Zoom Windows dialog box. Color.
And if I'm on an enhancement like the color enhancement, I can use the down arrow key to expand that menu.
Color. Normal checked.
It's completely keyboard accessible, whether you're using the arrow keys or the tab key, and the toolbar itself is still constructed in the same way that you're used to. There's 3 tabs across the top, the magnifier, reader, and tools tabs, which you can get to at any time by holding down the control key and pressing tab.
Voice.
And now that I've done that, it switches me over to the the reader tab on the toolbar with the voice button highlighted. Similarly to Microsoft Office products, the Files menu system has kind of a ribbon toolbar feel to it. So if you hit the Alt key,
Reader.
you're going to notice that next to the tabs and on the ZoomText file menu are keyboard keys superimposed over the top. So if I hit any of these keys, for example, if I hit the Z key, that's going to open the ZoomText file menu for me directly.
ZoomText. Disable ZoomText.
And you'll see that all of these menu items also have accelerator keys for them as well, superimposed on top. So the look and feel of this, much more modern, completely keyboard accessible, and a really streamlined approach to our product and product family. So that's going to be a theme that you're going to see throughout, is we're trying to simplify and really make the product a lot easier to use. So first thing you're going to see when you launch the program right off the bat is going to be that brand new modern toolbar. Now, another thing that we've done with ZoomText 11 is we have a new set of command keys or hotkeys to let you interact with ZoomText and make changes in the program. Now, I know what you're thinking, having to relearn a whole new hotkey set might seem a bit imposing at first, but really what we've done this time around is just going to make things so much easier for you. No longer do you really have to remember a lot of 3 to 4 key hotkeys. It's really, really simple, and primarily you're going to be interacting with the caps lock key to make your changes. So let's go through some of the more basic ones to start, and they're very intuitive. If you want to change your magnification level, one of the most common things you're going to do in ZoomText right off the bat. Well, first of all, you could just click on the up and down arrow keys here if you are a mouse user, but via the keyboard, and you're going to see something here that's also another new feature of the toolbar. If you hover your mouse over one of the buttons on the toolbar, there's a tooltip pop-up that explains to you what the feature does and also its hotkey. So it's kind of giving you a sneak peek of what we're going to be going over here in a second. So to change the magnification level via the keyboard, remember that one key to keep in mind is the caps lock key. Hold down your caps lock key and then simply tap the up or down arrow keys.
2.25, 2.5, 2.25, 2.
All right, so very simply, to change your magnification level, caps lock up or down arrow. One of the new features in ZoomText 11 is the zoom to 1x command. And what this allows you to do is bring your magnification level all the way down to 1x or no magnification instantly while keeping your screen enhancements like your color, pointer, cursor, and focus enhancements turned on, as well as any speech-related features in ZoomText. And you can do this at any time by either clicking on the where it says zoom level on the toolbar, or hold down the caps lock key and press the enter key. This will zoom you in and out. So if I hold down the caps lock key and hit enter, you see I return to the magnification level that I was at previously. If I press it again, I'm zoomed all the way out. But notice that my pointer enhancement is still turned on. I can see that red focus enhancement highlighting the toolbar button. And if I hit the tab key,
Window.
you'll hear that ZoomText is still currently speaking.
Zoom level 1.
So caps lock enter is going to do that for you almost instantly. So new command in ZoomText, really helpful for those times where you may need to back out your magnification to see where a toolbar is or a button is in an application, or maybe you've got a sighted coworker that just stopped over and needs to see the screen unmagnified. Caps lock enter is going to do that for you. So let's go over some of the other hotkeys for ZoomText 11, some of the things that have changed. I just showed you how to zoom out to 1x. Let's say you want to disable ZoomText entirely. That's going to be done by holding down the caps lock and the control keys and then pressing the enter key. Now, similarly, we have no magnification, but now I have no enhancement on my pointer, and also we have no speech in ZoomText. The toolbar itself is actually grayed out now as well. So when you're ready to turn ZoomText back on, hold down the caps lock and control keys and then hit enter.
ZoomText enabled.
And you can hear that ZoomText announces that it's now enabled. So those are some of the common hotkeys on manipulating some of ZoomText's settings. Now let's go over the enhancements, some of the screen enhancements that we have listed here.
Color.
So for the color enhancement, we can easily toggle this on and off simply by holding down the caps lock key and pressing C.
Color enhancements enabled.
So again, if I press a hotkey one more time, it's going to turn it off.
Color enhancements disabled.
Now, all of the hotkeys in ZoomText 11 are mnemonic now. So caps lock C for color, your pointer enhancement is going to be caps lock P.
Pointer enhancements disabled. Pointer enhancements enabled.
Cursor, well, we already used C, so this one is actually caps lock R. And the only time you're going to see this show up is when you're in an edit field. So if I open the run command, you'll see that that cursor enhancement is visible. If I hit that hotkey, which is caps lock R,
Cursor enhancements disabled.
you'll hear that it's disabled. Those blue wedges disappear. If I hit it again, caps lock R,
Cursor enhancements enabled.
you hear that it's now enabled. Lastly, we have the focus enhancement, and this is currently turned on. It's that red box that's highlighting around the open dialog here. So that hotkey is caps lock F.
Focus enhancements disabled.
Notice I press the hotkey, it now is gone. If I hit it again,
Focus enhancements enabled.
you'll see that now it reappears. Okay? So almost all of your hotkeys in ZoomText 11 are going to start with caps lock something. So most of those magnifier hotkeys, they're going to be caps lock plus something, or in some cases it's caps lock control something. And one of those other hotkeys that's caps control is displaying the ZoomText user interface. So if I minimize ZoomText right now, okay, the toolbar is not visible. Let's say I'm in another application. I could be on the web, or maybe I'm in a document. So maybe I'm on the web, I'm on the ZoomText website, and I want to bring up the toolbar. You can do that at any time by holding down Control and Caps Lock and then pressing U.
ZoomText 11 Magnifier Reader, Cursor.
And now the toolbar will appear. So those are some of the hotkeys, some of the magnification hotkeys in ZoomText. Let's look at some of the reader hotkeys. And I'm going to switch over to that tab by just pressing Control-Tab on the keyboard.
Voice.
So changing speech rate, I showed you how to change your magnification level, which was caps lock up and down arrow. In the case of speech features in ZoomText, most of these hotkeys are going to be caps lock and the Alt key. So caps lock, Alt, up and down arrow will change your speech rate.
55%, 60%, 55%, 50%.
So caps, Alt, up and down arrow is going to change speech rate. If I want to turn speech on and off, remember it was Control, Caps Lock, Enter to disable ZoomText. If I want to disable speech, that is Caps Lock, Alt, Caps Lock, Enter.
Voice disabled.
You hear that the voice is disabled. I see the toolbar button has changed as well. If I press that hotkey one more time, it'll toggle it back on.
Voice enabled.
So, rules of thumb to remember. Your main hotkeys, your main everyday use hotkeys with ZoomText are generally going to be caps lock plus something. Caps lock up and down arrow is going to change your magnification level. Caps lock enter is going to be that zoom to 1x feature. Caps lock C, P, R, and O for the enhancements. And then other magnification related features or things on the magnifier tab, those are going to start generally with caps lock and control and something else. And some of the tools on the tools tab apply to that as well. On the reader side of things, and we're going to get into some of the reading tools a little bit later, all those hotkeys are going to be caps lock, Alt, and something else. So those are just some rules of thumb to remember with hotkeys in ZoomText 11. The next topic that we're going to cover that's kind of in line with the new command keys in ZoomText is the layered keys mode. Now, the layered keys mode is going to be helpful for people that have difficulty doing some of these multi-key hotkeys that require you to hold more than two keys and maybe press another key. The layered keys mode is going to allow you to execute ZoomText commands from the keyboard using a single hand. So this is a special mode that you can enter at any time by holding down the caps lock key and pressing spacebar.
Entering layered keys, command mode selection, type to hear a list of commands for this command group.
You'll hear ZoomText announce that you're in this mode and that if you want help with it, to hit the question mark key on the keyboard. Now, while you're in this mode, again, this is a special kind of tool mode, so you can't be typing in an application. All of your keys are going to be passed into ZoomText. They're not going to go through to the actual application that you might be running. So with layered keys, single presses on the keyboard now, once you're in this mode, will execute ZoomText command. And they're separated by different groups. You have a magnifier group for some of the magnifier features. You have a reader group for the speech features and the reading tools. So before you can execute a command, you have to go into the actual group first. So I'll give you an example. Let's say we want to change our color filter. We want to turn it on. First thing I need to do is press M on the keyboard to enter the magnifier group.
Magnifier commands.
All right, now it tells me I'm in the magnifier commands. Now, in order for me to change that color filter on, all I need to do is hit the C key.
Color enhancements enabled.
So by pressing that one key,
color enhancements disabled.
It'll toggle the feature on and off. Additionally, if I want to change my magnification level, now that I'm in this mode, I'm in the magnifier group, just pressing the up or down arrow keys is going to change my magnification level.
2.75, 3, 2.75, 2.5, 2.25, 2, 2.2, 2.5.
So single keys are going to allow me to do these commands that previously I had to hold another key down and then press. Now, let's say I want to read something or I want to change my speech rate. Well, can I just press R to start reading maybe?
Cursor enhancements disabled.
The R key changed my cursor enhancement. Remember, we're still in the magnifier group, so all of those magnifier related features are going to be executed when I press these single keys. So I'm just going to press R again to turn that back
Cursor
on.
enhancements enabled.
For me to manipulate reading settings, I need to make sure I'm in the reader group. So we kind of need to back up one level in this layered keys mode. And to do that, you can hit the backspace key.
Command mode selection.
All right, so hit the backspace key, and now I'm in the command mode selection area. So now I can hit M for my magnifier group or R for my reader group.
Reader commands.
Okay, so now we're in the reader commands. Remember just a couple seconds ago I used the up and down arrow keys to change the magnification level? Well, now that's going to change our speech rate.
55%. 60%. 55%. 50%.
Okay, so these layered keys are going to allow you to press one key on the keyboard to execute ZoomText commands once you're in this tool mode. When you're ready to exit out of the mode, simply hit the escape key or right-click the mouse. Okay, so that was just a brief overview on the layered keys feature. The next feature I'm going to show you here is our new geometric smoothing. And really what that is going to help in applications where ZoomText magnification might not have looked as good as it could in certain cases. So now when you look at your PDF documents, you're going to notice that these are a lot clearer and easier to read now. So if I zoom in here, you'll see that this is still has excellent clarity and very easy to see. So this is a brand new feature that you're going to find in ZoomText 11. Let's go ahead and move on to using the new reading tools in ZoomText, specifically the Consolidated App Reader tool. Now, for many of you, the App Reader tool is going to look and feel very similar to what it was in previous versions of ZoomText, but we've now streamlined the tool to have multiple different modes. You may remember the doc reader feature in ZoomText. It's now called Text View. It's going to look and feel exactly like what you remember in other versions of ZoomText, but just be easier to use. So now we already talked about hotkeys, so let's go ahead and use ZoomText 11 to read content. And I'm going to go ahead and open the ZoomText website. So here we are on the ZoomText website, and in order for me to start reading with ZoomText, that hotkey is going to be Caps Lock Alt R.
ZoomText. Search. Click to submit your site.
Now I'm going to go ahead and pause the reading there by hitting the Enter key. That's exactly the same as you may remember from the old app reader tool in previous versions of ZoomText. But one thing I want to point out is how quickly the reading began, almost instantaneously on a website. Now when we're paused, single-clicking on a word is going to read it back to us.
Learning.
And actually move the reading position there. Previously, a single click would resume reading from that location. Now a single click
Worlds.
will read the current word, or if you click and drag,
ZoomText is the world's leading magnification and screen reading software.
ZoomText will read your selection. So this works exactly like our Speak It tool used to work, which is still in the product, but now it's been consolidated into the App Reader tool. So if you need to do some spot reading, you can pause App Reader and do it right directly in the App Reader tool mode. No longer do you have to exit out and start a secondary tool to perform that task. Additionally, if you want to look at a text view of this rather than the app view, which is what we're in now, all you need to do is hit the Tab key, and it will be quickly switched over to the text view, which looks exactly like our doc reader tool from previous versions of ZoomText. The interface is pretty much the same. You've got the play button, your zoom level settings here, your rate, the ticker and prompter views, and then you've got a button here to switch back to the app view. So you can easily switch between app and text views with a single click or a single hotkey. Very simple and easy to use, the new consolidated reading tool. So let's go through this again. I'm going to show you another example using the mouse. So if we want to start reading from our mouse pointer, all right, this is going to be done very simply by holding down the Caps Lock and Alt keys and then left clicking on the word where we want to begin reading.
ZoomText is the world's leading magnification and screen reading software for the visually impaired.
At any time when you're ready to stop reading, hit the escape key, or right-click the mouse. It's as simple as that. Okay, so caps lock and alt, those are going to be the two keys you're going to hold down before you start any reading command with ZoomText 11. Let's switch over to a Word document here. And I'm going to show you that you can also start ZoomText immediately into the text view, or what we used to call Doc Reader. That hotkey is caps lock alt T.
Video provides a powerful way to help you prove your point.
Takes us directly into the text view and starts reading automatically. Okay, so whether you want to, and I'm going to go ahead and escape out of this by hitting escape, or you can right-click the mouse. So you can start reading immediately in the text view, or if you press caps alt R,
when you click online video,
which starts your app reader tool, or you can even go directly into the Speak It tool mode by pressing caps alt S.
App Reader, Speak It tool.
Now we are directly in that Speak It tool mode, which looks and feels like the Speak It tool from previous versions of ZoomText. Single click, we'll read the individual word. If I highlight text,
video provides a powerful way.
It will read all of that text in the selection. And again, remember to right-click or hit escape once you're done with the reading tool. So the whole point in this is that we've consolidated all of the reading tools in one place. The app view essentially behaves like App Reader and the Speak It tool combined into one place. Then the text view, or what used to be called Doc Reader, is just a different view of the reading tool that you're currently in. So you can just hit the tab key to switch over to it, or click the app view button to go back to the app view if you're in the text view. Very simple and consolidated way to get to all of those reading features that you've been using for years throughout our ZoomText products. The next feature we're going to look at is the new unified finder in ZoomText 11. And this can be found in the Tools tab. Now, you're going to want to use the Finder in an application like a Word document or maybe on a web page for where you're searching for certain content that appears on screen. So let's go ahead and open up a Word document, and we're going to search that document for a certain term. So I've just got a document open here, which is just kind of some placeholder text that we've inserted into Microsoft Word. So I can start that Finder feature by either clicking on its button on the toolbar, or the hotkey is Control Caps Lock F.
ZoomText Finder. Search.
And once we've opened the tool, it works just like a find command that you'd use in your web browser or in your word processor. So at this point, I'm going to type in the term I'm looking for. I'm going to type in the word smart art. Okay, now that I've typed that term in, you just hit the Enter key to go to the first result.
Smart art, text.
It's going to read that result to me, highlight it on screen, and also allow me to start reading from that location if I want. I can also go to the previous or the next results if there are any, but you can also easily start the App Reader tool reading right from that location in a single click.
Smart art graphics changed to match your new theme.
Okay, so you can use the Finder as a simple find command, look for something on screen, show it to me, bring it into view, and then maybe start reading it. But it's even more powerful on the web. When we're on the internet, a lot of times we're not just searching for a certain term, something that we know is on the page. A lot of times when we're on the web, we may not know exactly what we're looking for. So Google News is a good example. All right, I've got the sports section of Google News open right now. For the most part, when you come to a web page, you don't know exactly what you're looking for. You're going to skim it for information and then maybe find something that is kind of what you're looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and open the Finder tool again. Again, that's Control Caps Lock F.
ZoomText Finder. Search.
And to reiterate, the simplest thing I can do here is just start typing something in, see what's on the page. Kind of just take a stab out there and say, well, are there any articles pertaining to the Indianapolis Colts? I'll just type in Colts and hit enter.
Jim Irsay reveals Colts QB Andrew Luck had surgery on shoulder. Heading 2 contains link.
All right, it brings me to that first result. which is a heading. It's an article about the Colts. Okay, there may or may not be any other results here. Let's take a look. If we activate the next button,
Indianapolis Colts link.
there's an Indianapolis Colts link.
Colts QB Luck undergoes shoulder surgery link. Colts.com.
And there's a hidden link there for Colts.com.
Colts.com. Jim Irsay reveals Colts QB Andrew Luck had.
And now we've kind of gone back to the beginning. So we got lucky and there was an instance of a certain word on that page. But let's say we've gotten to this website and we don't know what we're looking for. I just want to skim for information on this page. I can use the Finder tool to do that. Not only can the Finder allow you to search for any text result of a word, but when you're on the web, you can also search and navigate by different types of web page elements, whether they're sections, headings, links, images, tables, lists, forms, or controls. I know that sounds very daunting when you look at it, but let's boil it down to its most simplistic thing. Headings are likely going to be the most important bits of information on any given web page. So I'm going to change my search items to headings. All right. And this time,
Search.
I'm going to leave that search field blank. I don't know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for articles, but I don't exactly know which one I want to go to. So I'm going to leave that search field blank and just simply activate that next button or hit the enter key.
Sports. Heading 2.
The first result is a heading 2 with the word sports in it, so that's kind of the top of the articles here. So we're going to go ahead and click that next button again or hit enter.
KD on Westbrook rivalry. The outside is taking it more serious than probably we are. Heading 2.
The next result is an article heading. It read me the title. All right, so what I want to show you here is when I go to the next result, it's going to skip over all of this information, all these images underneath this first article.
Why Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens will get the whole call. Heading 2.
So I skipped a lot of extraneous information there, and now I went to directly to the next article title. So by using heading navigation,
Is this the best QB Final Four in NFL history? Heading 2.
I'm able to navigate quickly through all of the articles on the Google News website.
Jim Irsay reveals Colts QB Andrew Luck had surgery on shoulder.
And at any point, I can choose to execute one of those links to go directly to that web page.
Irsay reveals Colts QB Andrew Luck had surgery on shoulder. Internet Explorer.
And that'll open that page, and I can start reading that content if I'd like. Now, not only does it allow you to search through the information on a given page, but you can also see a list of all of those items as well. So rather than me go through one by one all of those heading results on that page, I can also open up the list view and use my arrow keys to navigate through the list. I find an article that strikes my fancy, I can even execute that or start reading from that location.
Trevonte Valentine, LSU's trouble defensive tackle, dismissed from football team.
So the new Unified Finder is very powerful. Not only does it allow you to search just for any text that appears on screen, but also on the web, you can search by different web page elements. I can search for a certain link. I can list all of those links on the page if I want to by opening up that list view and changing my page items
Links.
to links. I can sort through all of those just by simply typing in that search field. So right now, I've got 133 links on this page. Let's say I want to see any links that have the word NFL in them. I'm going to go to the search field and just start typing the letters N, F, L. And as I start typing, it filters down my results. Now I've got 4 items. There's 4 links on that page that have the letters NFL in them. So this new Unified Finder not only find what's on the page, navigate by web page element, and filter through content on the web as well. It's a much more powerful way to navigate and find information on the web. Let's take a look at our new Smart Invert feature in ZoomText 11. Now, this is going to work right now in Internet Explorer 11. So anytime you use a color filter, images that you see on screen are going to retain their original colors. So for those of you that use color filtering on a daily basis to help the readability of text, this is going to be extremely important for you. Whether you're surfing on the web or maybe using Facebook, now all of those photos won't look strange to you. So, and this is all done automatically. If I turn on the color filter,
Color enhancements enabled.
the color enhancements are enabled, and all of the images retain their original colors. They don't have that kind of negative of a photograph look to them. These are all as you would expect them to be, regardless of whether you have a color filter on or off.
Color enhancements disabled.
They're always going to appear in their normal colors. The last thing that we're going to cover here today is the new ZoomText and JAWS interoperability. And this is really important because now people that use JAWS with ZoomText are going to have a much more enjoyable experience. So I've already got ZoomText running, and
ZoomText 11 Magnifier Reader, Zoom Level 2.5.
You can hear the ZoomText speech, which is our NeoSpeech Paul voice. I'm going to go ahead and start JAWS.
JAWS Professional.
So now we've got both ZoomText and JAWS running. And primarily, what you're going to hear is the JAWS voice.
Windows R. Run dialog. Type the name of a program, folder, document, or internet resource, and Windows will open it for you.
Okay, so as we start typing,
WINWORD.
You're going to hear that JAWS voice. Notice also that ZoomText is going to follow along as JAWS is reading. So let's go ahead and go over to our web browser.
Alt-Tab, JAWS Professional, Alt-Tab, 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 Document, Alt-Tab, Sports-Internet Explorer, Sports-Inter.
And now that we're on the web, if I do an insert down arrow, which is a hotkey to have JAWS start reading.
Visited heading level 2 link. Jim Irsay reveals Colts QB Andrew Luck had surgery on shoulder USA Today - 3 hours ago in Escape.
You'll notice that ZoomText is not only highlighting, but visually tracking along as JAWS is reading. If I want to navigate by headings in JAWS, there's a special key mode to let me do that. So I can just press the H key on the keyboard.
Oakland Raiders file Las Vegas relocation paperwork heading level 2 link.
To jump to that next heading.
Atlanta Rising: the Falcon. Mel Kiper's first 26-time champ Novak Djokovic stunned by
So ZoomText is working together with JAWS to not only show you what it's reading, but also highlight it as well. If we launch something like our doc reader tool or text view now.
Top stories, news near you, world, US. Business, technology, entertainment.
You'll notice that we have the ZoomText voice speaking. So both of the programs are running independently, but now you don't have that problem where speech is constantly talking over itself, or the products don't know which is running and which should speak and which shouldn't. So this makes it really easy for individuals that are using JAWS and ZoomText together to have a much more enjoyable, more powerful computing experience. We hope you've enjoyed this look at the new features in ZoomText 11. For more information or training on ZoomText, email us at training@vfogroup.com or call us toll-free at 877-775-9474.